It's time to meet Clifton.
With your host, Ray Grabowski.
Hey, here's Ray.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Meet Clifton. Tonight I have a special guest host, Liz. Thanks for joining us tonight. I know it's short notice, but I'm glad you could make it.
10 o'clock this morning, I didn't think I could get everything done.
Well, we're filling in for George, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
We miss George.
Yeah, we do. He'll be back next time.
Okay.
Tonight we have a very interesting show, so sit back and we'll be back in a few moments, but please wait. Listen to the Two Tones coming live from their studio.
Tonight's guest star, author Michael Gabriele, Clifton Cares Inc. members Donna Crum and Chris Liszner, and Passaic County Volunteership Counselor Mike Cervine. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. With me, my first guest is an author of a book called Stories from New Jersey Diners. Now, for many of us in my age group or a little bit younger and older, if you grew up in New Jersey, you grew up in a diner. That was the meeting place, the greeting place. You met before you went out, after you went out, that's where everyone went in diners. Clifton is noted for that, and I'd like to welcome Mr. Michael Gabriele, the author of Stories from New Jersey. Mike, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
And,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, and tell us about your new book.
Well, your intro, I think, captured the spirit of the book. As they say in the business, a diner is more than a place to eat, and food is only half the meal. The other half is the atmosphere,
Right.
the people you meet, the memories that you have. That's what a diner is all about. It's unlike anything else in New Jersey. That's the spirit. That's basically the theme I tried to carry through the book, telling stories about the diners, the people who own diners, who worked in diners, and people who went to diners, like truck drivers, like
Right.
cowboys, like et cetera, et cetera. Anybody
Sure.
you can think of, state police.
And it was a place where if you were by yourself, you could go, and it's almost had a little bit of a social life because you had nowhere to go. You go in for a cup of coffee, you talk to the person next to them, and obviously smoking was a big part of it too, but it's changed. Now, you say that New Jersey is called the diner capital of the world.
Diner capital of the world, absolutely, positively. We have more diners in New Jersey than any other state. That's one reason why we're the diner capital. The second reason, I think equally important, is in the 20th century, New Jersey was the diner manufacturing capital of the world. This is the era when diners were built in factories. They were modular, prefabricated, engineered structures. They'd be built in a factory, and they'd have everything installed, all the electricity, the gas, the water. They'd usually be built in 3 or 4 sections with a vestibule, and then they'd be taken to the place where they were going to operate, where the owner would want them, and they were put back together again, and that was the technology for building
The
diners.
Coleman cars.
That's right.
I
That's
think
right.
They were called Coleman cars.
Right.
and,
That's right. Yeah.
They look like you could tow them and put them on the spot.
Well, they were. Before diners, there were lunch wagons. They would be horse-drawn or drawn by a tractor. But yeah, they were. That was the diner, and we had many of the major diner manufacturers that were in the United States, like the Coleman Company, like O'Mahony, like Swingle, like Silk City in Patterson. These were all the major diner manufacturers. They built these beautiful stainless steel structures that are admired around the world, and they were built right here and designed right here in New Jersey.
Right. And some still, TikTok is kind of a modified, but at one point it was a Coleman type of diner.
There were 3 TikToks at that same spot. The first one was a Silk City car, stainless steel. The second one was more of a restaurant type of place. That second one actually went down to down south to Mays Landing. It's now the Mays Landing Diner.
Wow.
The third one, the one that's there today, that was built by the Kullman Company, Kullman. It was built in, they had manufacturing facilities in Avenel and Lebanon. And that's a factory-built diner in 7 sections. It was trucked here to Clifton, put together. And that diner, I think, really represents the kind of the transition point between the big site-built diners that they have today and the factory-built diners. Because it's a big diner, but it was built in a factory. So.
Right. And I know, I mean, if you grew up in Clifton, we had so many diners.
Lots of diners.
Macaluso's Diner, which was eventually turned into the Queen's Diner.
Queen's Diner on Van Houten Avenue, which is now Dunkin'
Donuts, but it's still in the same spot.
That's right. That's right.
And that actually fed into the factory society, which kind of like lunch wagons. So that's kind of a big thing there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I don't know how that fits in. The lunch wagons. Did they go from lunch wagons to diners?
Lunch wagons are that's the ancestral origin of diners and today's food trucks as well. Lunch wagons were built in factories.
Right.
And they were the precursor to today's modern diners. The idea that it's a roadside attraction. You're eating while you're walking or after you get off the trolley or on the train.
Right.
And they were placed strategically at train stations and factories, where they would get food, where they would get foot traffic. So
Right.
that's the lunch wagon predated the diners, and that's really how the tradition started.
Yeah, that's probably why in Clifton, all the factories, that's why you had the diner there, which was a Queen's Diner, and then TikTok was always there. And actually, Route 3, there were a lot of diners at one point.
West Diner.
Where the Honda dealership is now, that was a diner.
The Aztec Diner.
The Aztec Diner.
That's right.
Actually, there were a few in Clifton, too, where Boston Market is now. That was the old Allwood Diner.
Right.
And then where Jamie's was also a diner.
We have the Allwood Diner, today's modern Allwood Diner today. But there was another Allwood Diner at that intersection, that five-way intersection there. That was an old Allwood Diner, yeah. So Clifton has had his share of nice diners.
The Egg Platter, which is on the border.
Which is not there anymore.
Which is not there anymore, so there were quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
In Clifton alone. We've all grown up in diners.
Right.
I don't know what kids do nowadays, but that was the social life back then.
You want a good diner experience? Go to a diner. Some of them, not all of them, stay open 24 hours, but if there's a 24-hour diner, go there at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's when you're going to have fun, because who's going to be there? Everybody. Politicians, truck drivers, college professors, anybody you could think of, musicians. You probably...
well, back before DUI, everyone went to a diner at 2 o'clock in the morning, because there were clubs.
Right.
There were hundreds of clubs in New Jersey, and everyone left the clubs at 2 o'clock, went to the diners till 3, 4 in the morning.
That's where the real party was.
And that was the real party. Unfortunately, that's gone, and we have those memories, but it's
a place for good memories.
And I know Liz has probably been out.
I've been to a few diners. Do you have a favorite?
Well, the favorite that's nearest and dear to my heart, of course, is the TikTok, because I grew up around here. I've been going there since I was a teenager. There are other nice diners in New Jersey too. So,
do you have a favorite food in a diner?
I would say, well, the TikTok food is very good.
I agree.
But I would say if you're talking about diners, I think they're really a cut above. You got Mustache Bill's Diner on Long Beach Island. That's a good one.
Okay.
Mustache Bill is a diner man's diner man. Really? And then you have the Broad Street Diner in Keyport. Young Greek couple bought it several years ago. Wonderful. Both, but they're all good. Yeah, they're all good.
Right.
They're all
just
good. Everybody has a favorite.
We have in this area. We have probably more than any other area.
Yeah.
You're not more than 3 miles from a diner.
Anytime, and you always have a good time. You always have a good meal.
Oh yeah, I know you've written other books and stuff, and I guess it's kind of like your journalism career. So, how does this book fit with that? Or
well, I write for my books are published by the History Press.
Right.
That's an independent publisher down in South Carolina. Very thankful, very lucky to be associated with them. This is now my 4th book that I've published with them on New Jersey history. Nice. I feel very proud about that. And yes, it is an extension of my journalism career, I think, because when I'm researching a book, I think like a reporter. I write like a reporter. I interview people like a reporter. I write like a reporter. So that's how I do it. Other people do it differently, but that's
and like diners, Mike's been around a long time. Everyone knows Mike from all different things. But let me just ask you one last question about this. Are you going to do any presentations in the Clifton area on this book?
I certainly am.
Okay, if you have a couple of dates, we'd be interested to hear them.
Friday, September 27th at the Nutley Museum. That's going to be the book launch party.
Okay.
Then the Clifton Library was nice enough to invite me in October. I'm going to be doing a presentation there.
Do you have a date on that?
I do, but I can't remember right
Okay,
now.
we
But,
could get that at
yeah,
a later date.
Yeah, but the libraries and the Historical Society has been very nice to me. They're very supportive. They're very interested in my work, and I get a lot of calls to do presentations, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. And actually, anyone who's grown up, like I said, around here, this would be a great book to get because this is kind of like part of our history, kind of our growing up, which probably will never come back again those days. So if you get a chance to see Mike, please go out at a later date. We'll put the dates on for you. Mike, I appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure.
I
Thanks for
appreciate it.
having
I'm really looking forward to this book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Hello, Clifton and friends. Welcome to the updates. Who doesn't like s'mores? Clifton is having their family camp out. It's going to be August 16th and 17th, starting at 4 p.m. It will be at Albion Park, 201 Maplewood Avenue. Clifton residents, it'll be $10 per campsite, and for a single tent, you could fit up to 4 people. So remember, August 16th and 17th for the family camp out. And Clifton Night at the Jackals will be on Wednesday, August 21st, and that is at Yogi Berra Stadium at Montclair State University. Tickets are $8.50 a person, and it starts at 7:05 p.m. Again, that's August 21st. And the Clifton Arts Center is going to be having a food truck, music, and art festival in conjunction with the benefit for the Clifton Veterans Committee so that they could raise funds for the Veterans Day Parade. That will be on the Clifton Municipal Complex. Again, that will be on September 1st, Sunday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. There will be a feature of different food trucks, also a beer garden, live entertainment, vendors, an art show and sale, and children craft station, and there's also free parking. Then also on September 15th, the Van Houten Avenue Business Association will be having their annual Van Houten Avenue Street Fair by Stanley's Ware Park. There'll be lots of vendors, lots to do. That's on Sunday, September 15th from 11 a.m. until about 4 p.m. or longer if you're having fun. There's entertainment, food, crafts, things to buy, lots to do. So please come by, enjoy the outdoors, and enjoy the rest of the summer with us. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. By the way, when you listen to the updates and all the special events, please try to go out to these events because it's good for Clifton. It supports the town and people and a lot of the organizations. So if you can get out to any of these events, please do. Tonight with me we have the people from Clifton Cares Incorporated. Donna Crum is the president, and Chris Liszner is the secretary of Clifton Cares Incorporated. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you, Ray.
Thanks for coming on. First of all, a lot of people in Clifton know what you do, and it's been around, but Clifton Cares, what's the mission?
Our mission is to send packages to our soldiers that are deployed overseas that don't have the actual BXs or PXs that they do in the United States.
So what exactly?
The packages consist of like Visine, beef jerky, hand sanitizer, socks, shampoos, deodorants, anything that's non-aerosol. We can't send aerosol over there.
I think Chris said cookies?
Cookies.
They love
Candy?
Cookies. And
Cookies
candy.
and peppermints, especially
Yes.
the fellas and girls that are in.
Graham crackers?
Graham crackers. Silly things that we
Mints.
take for granted here,
Yeah.
they don't get. And if they don't have access to a PX, then these are the things that make them think they're home.
Right, so I want to get to how you target the soldiers, but so how did this all start? How did it start? Someone had to come up with an idea, so how did we?
Well, back in 2009, my son was being sent over to Afghanistan, and I was out to dinner one night, and Liz Gagnon was there, and she said, "Oh, I'd love to send a package to Scott. You know, can you tell me what he needs?" So when my son contacted me, I asked, and he said mints and this and that and gum, and I said, "You can't get that?" And he said, "No. A lot of times in Afghanistan, what their BXs and PXs come are on an old school bus, and they start in different parts of the country, and sometimes by the time they would get to their area, there was nothing left on the bus for them to buy. So Liz and her husband Bill must have sent, about 13 packages on their own to my son. And then when she found out that he was also sharing his supplies with soldiers that didn't receive anything, she spoke to the city manager at the time, and the city manager allowed her to send out an email to all the employees of Clifton requesting supplies, and this is what we're doing. And Chris happened to get a copy of that, and Chris and I worked together on CASA many years ago, and she knew my son, and she had met Joanne Nouri, whose son left for Iraq. So that's how Clifton Cares became. And to date, we've sent out over 4,000 packages. We send out about 500 packages per year.
Wow.
So
let me ask a question to Chris here. Where do we do all of this? I mean, I know where, but.
We do it at the senior center, thanks to the city manager many years ago. And we try and do it 4 or 5 times a year. And in 10 years, the only time we actually had to cancel it because we didn't have any fund was one time,
Right.
in 10 years. And right after that, we just started asking people for donations. And at that point, we weren't a 501c3. So
You are now?
We are now.
Right, okay.
Okay, so we're tax deductible. And we needed to do that because now it opens many doors to being able to get grants and things like that. But people can just take it off their income tax, and that's a big deal.
Oh, sure. Ironically enough, Liz is my co-host tonight. So it's kind of ironic that we have this here today.
I think you planned
I
it.
think that was planned.
I think you did.
No, but it's nice that, that this all started. Now we have over 4,000 packages given out.
Right.
And just
And it's
who volunteers?
volunteers.
You ask anyone
The
to come and help and
networking,
pack? How
yeah.
does that work?
Yeah, the networking is just unbelievable. We really don't advertise, the date,
Right.
but the word does get out. Of course, the date is available to people when, they call City Hall, but just word of mouth. People, now we have letters out in the community to the churches, so that's putting another phone number and another face and a name,
Right.
who we are, asking them, because our cupboard is bare right now.
Right.
So the Boy Scouts a couple of years ago made us a great box downstairs. It says Clifton Cares
I see
on
that.
it, and you see it. And it gets emptied every day, several times a day when it does fill up. But right now, we're really in need of the things that we were asking for that Donna mentioned, because we pack again in September.
And as I was going to ask, relies on donations, basically, monetary as well as
Yes.
Yes.
little things that you send out there. Do you do fundraisers? How do we do this?
we haven't,
Okay.
only because we weren't a 501c3, and a lot of organizations don't want to deal with anyone that is
Yeah, of
not a
course.
501c3. So we are looking into holding some fundraisers, but right now we're
Well, we're going to get the word out tonight,
Okay,
obviously.
absolutely.
And just how much does it cost to mail a box of goodies?
$18.45.
Yes, it
And-
started at 10.50.
$10.50.
Yeah,
So basically $20,
yeah.
realistically.
Mhm.
And then you
Yeah.
need the manpower to pack. And I've been there, and it's quite an operation.
We've been very lucky with the volunteers and the support of the Clifton, Council. Mayor Anzaldi probably hasn't missed a packing in the
Right.
10 years,
Yeah,
and
no,
you've
no,
been there,
he's-
Lauren. Great
big supporter.
supporters.
Oh,
Great
absolutely.
supporters.
And, all right, and just, I guess not in closing, but when's the next packing?
The next packing is September 24th at the Senior Center.
Maybe we could get that on September 24th at the Senior Center. And if someone's going to, what time would they come?
4:30.
4:30.
4:30?
Yeah.
And how long does it take about?
About an hour, hour and a
Hour and a
half.
half, yeah.
Okay, so what I want to get across is that you can bring your donations to City Hall because we have the box.
Right.
And let's just say, we're going to round it off to $20 a package here. So if you want to make a donation, who would they make checks out to?
Clifton Cares Incorporated.
Clifton Cares Incorporated.
Mhm.
So, because $20 a package, if you're sending 400 packages out, that's a big chunk of money.
Yes, it is.
But I would think the veterans really appreciate this, right?
They love it.
They love it.
The thank yous that we get are just, they're heartbreaking, some of them. We put in, like, the News Journal, we put in the Merchant magazine, and they'll say, you know, it smells like home.
Yeah, no, it must be nice. Who do you target though? Just
Right now we have 5 police officers,
officers.
and 2 firemen from Clifton. It's all word of mouth. They're all, everyone that we send to,
Right.
they're all basically have some part of Clifton.
Okay, that's
whether
nice.
it's
Oh,
their
that's nice, yeah.
grandparent or
okay, yeah,
niece.
that's what I was wondering
Yeah.
because and if every town did this, Jesus, it would be
Right.
really nice. It's good that it started here in Clifton.
In the
Great.
beginning, we thought we would only be doing Clifton, soldiers, but, everybody needs a little bit of home.
Oh, sure.
So we
Of
expanded
course,
in
yeah.
here. We have about 17 names now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, ladies, for coming on.
Thank
It's
you
a
for
great
having
thing.
us.
Please, if you can donate, if you have any questions, call the station here or any one of these ladies, and you'll see us anywhere. Call anyone in the city, and they'll tell you. And hopefully, you'll be at the packing and the volunteers. But most importantly, we need the donations and we need the supplies. So, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
for
Thank
coming
you
on.
very
I
much.
appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And Liz, thanks for being here. And I
Thank
know
you.
you started
Great
this.
timing.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Good evening. The Boys and Girls Club of Clifton is having their 6th annual car, truck, and motorcycle show on Sunday, September 8th from 9 to 5 at the Allwood Atrium. That's 2 Brighton Road. Open to all cars, trucks, and motorcycles of all years. And also you will see cars from 1920 to the present. We have food, drinks, vendors, prizes, a giant 50-50, toys for the children. You will also be entertained by DJ Nick at Night and Swingman and the Misfit Mutts. Car show people, you know what to do. If you would like to pre-register, you can contact John at the Boys and Girls Club, and that's 973-773-0966, extension 111. Spectators are free. Please come down, bring the children. We will have demonstrations. Everyone will have a ball. We're expecting to see you, and all proceeds will be going to the Boys and Girls Club of Clifton to help our children. So please, looking forward to seeing you that day. Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. My next guest has been here a few times, talks about Medicare and that topic, and there's a lot of, so we asked him back tonight to explain a little more, I think, about Part A and B. So let me welcome Mike Cervine, Passaic County Volunteer Ship Counselor. Mike, thanks
How you
for coming
doing, Ray?
back on.
Thank you.
I know last time we were here we had a lot of information. I think today we're going to just tweak it a little bit.
Yeah,
So I think we're going to start with where can they get the information about Medicare?
yeah. Well, last time we talked about Medicare Part A. We brought that up in there. And I think some of the information I gave may have been a little bit misleading. So the reason now is to try and clarify what that is, whether it's necessary or not. All right? So some of the stuff may have changed. People may have things have changed. It really hasn't changed. But one of the issues that's coming up right now, matter of fact, Congress is already together, we're going to be sending to CMS, that's Medicare, to make some of the changes in the eligibility, because it's one of the most confusing parts of Medicare itself and what you have to do with it. So the last time I said, is there a penalty for not getting Part A? And my answer was that, well, yes, there is a penalty. But in reality, there's only a penalty for not getting Part A if you have to pay for Part A.
Okay.
All right? And not everybody has to pay for Part A. As a matter of fact, the majority of us don't have to pay for Part A. The rules for getting Medicare Part A for free are the same as the rules for getting Social Security pension. You have to put in 40 quarters. If you put in the 40 quarters and paid into Medicare and Social Security, you get Part A for free. Now, if you are working and you have coverage with your employer, you turn 65, provided the employer has at least 20 employees, do you have to get Part A? No. Will you get penalized? No. There's no cost, so there's no penalty. The bottom line is that you want to get it anyway, though, because it'll be secondary to your company's insurance. And it's not costing you anything, so why not get it? Okay? The trick comes in when, if you are not entitled to free Part A. And if you bring up the second slide over there, I should go back to the first slide, I'm sorry. In the first slide, people want to get information about Medicare. I'm going to digress for a minute here. People want to get information on Medicare. They can go to www.medicare.gov. There's information there. Or there are now 2 new smartphone apps that have come up, one in English and one in Spanish. And with those, you can use your Android phone or your iPhone, and go to the, what do you call it, the What's Covered app, and they're on the slide, and it will tell you then what's covered. For example, I just went in before and put in chiropractors. It tells you what chiropractor coverage is in there. So you can go to those things. That's right on your smartphone.
Right.
All right? So going back to Part A and who's eligible. In order to be eligible for Medicare, besides the 40 quarters, you'll have to be an American citizen or a legal green card citizen, legal green card holder for at least 5 years. In addition to that, you must be age 65 or older, or under age 65 and on Social Security for disability, or at any age and have end-stage renal disease, or at any age and be eligible for Social Security disability because of Lou Gehrig's disease. Those are the things that allow you to be eligible for Medicare itself.
Okay.
Now, to be eligible for free Medicare, as I said before, and this is on slide 3, what you'll see is that you have had to put in the 40 quarters. On slide 4, you'll see if you have not put in the 40 quarters, then you can buy into the Medicare system. If you put in between, 30 and 39 quarters, or 30 and 39 quarters, or under 30 quarters, you can buy into the system. Now, Medicare Part A is not cheap. You don't have to buy into Medicare when you turn 65. For example, say you're a new immigrant here and you haven't put in the quarters. You want Medicare coverage, you can buy into the system. You don't have to. You can go into Obamacare if you want to. That's your choice at that point in time. But if you want to, then there is a cost to that. In those cases, if you want to buy into Medicare and you don't get into it when you're 65 or eligible, then there is a penalty.
Okay.
Okay, so that's when the penalty comes into play.
Just really costly average person, let's say have 30 or 39 quarters. What would it, is it a monthly fee they would have?
Yes, it's a monthly fee. What would be is 39 quarters would be $240 a month for one person.
Okay.
All right, if you're under 30 quarters, it's $437 a month, and those are 2019 prices. These prices change every year. All right, and so, and again, if you wanted to buy it and later on, and you didn't get it on time, there would be a penalty on top of that you would have to pay.
Wow.
So it gets to be an expensive type of thing. Okay, and the late enrollment penalty is 10% for twice the number of years you could have had Part A but didn't get it. Okay, so it winds up being kind of an expensive penalty. Basically, that's it for Part A. But for Part B, which is the part that most people are concerned with, people that are working.
That's a complicated one to be.
And it gets even more and more complicated right now. That we're paying, that everyone pays for. All right, and what you pay varies depending on a lot of factors right now. Generally speaking, most people pay $135, about $135 a month. But there are some upper income levels where you're paying more, and there are a variety of other reasons why you may be paying something other than that. But generally it's $135. Do you need Part B? Okay. If you're still working and covered by your employer, and your employer has more than 20 employees, then you probably do not need to get Part B at that point in time. Okay, the key to that is two factors. You need to be working, you have to be actively employed, you have to have the coverage, and the employer has to have more than 20 employees.
Okay.
In those cases, Medicare becomes secondary, your company or employer is primary.
So like a supplement.
It's a supplemental to your company's plan there as Part B, so you don't need to get it at that point in time. However, if your employer, say you're working for a small lawyer's office and there's only 3 or 4, maybe a couple of paralegals, a couple of secretaries, and a couple of lawyers, and he's covering you with insurance, that they have less than 20 employees. You turn 65 now you do have to get Medicare because now they are primary. So you need to get them at that point in time. So that's the trick in between there. Okay? The key point is in all of these things to check with your HR department. That's really, they need to know this. And I'm going to repeat this, I'm doing this publicly so people know. People, I've talked to people and I say, I go to the HR department and says, we don't know. And I tell them very nicely, smile at them and say, it's your job, find out. You need to find out for me you're supposed to know. They need to know. Because I've already run into situations with people who have been denied benefits because they thought they had coverage and they didn't, because their number of employees varied during the year, and Medicare said you needed to get it, and they didn't realize it, and now they were being stuck with bills. So that's the overall difference between them.
Is there classes on this?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's exactly the last thing I was going to ask you. Yep.
Seminar, right?
In October,
Oh, good.
I run the seminar right here at the Clifton Senior Center on Wednesday, October, this is the last slide in there, Wednesday, October 2nd, Medicare's Parts A and B. Wednesday, October 9th, we'll talk about Medigaps, those are supplementals, and Medicare Part D, which is the drug programs. And on Wednesday, October 16th, we'll talk about Medicare Advantage plans, and we'll be talking about what do you call fraud and abuse. All of these seminars I run from 2 to 4 in the afternoon, and I repeat them again at night from 7 to 9. They're totally free. They're open to anyone. Doesn't make any difference if you're a Medicare recipient, you're going to get onto it, you're just interested in Medicare. I had a couple of college students who were working on some stuff that wanted to know what was going on, and they came to it too. Okay. It's open and free to everyone. All we ask you to do is call the senior center and register for it, so I know I have enough books and material for everyone.
Okay. Well, it's very important. I think it's very complicated. I'm just starting to understand it, but you should come to one of these seminars, or like Mike said, call your HR department and get some information, because it's very important for your life. You make a mistake, it could hurt you in the long run.
I sure can.
Yeah. Okay.
I will be
Mike,
there.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Clears a lot of stuff up for me.
Thank you too.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Well, that's our show for tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. I'd also like to thank my co-host Liz for coming in today, filling in for George. Hopefully he'll be back next time. I think he's on vacation somewhere, but Liz did a great job. So I'd like to thank all the guests for coming on tonight, of course, and all the staff and the crew at Meet Clifton for another great show. But in the meantime, be good to your friends and family. Respect your neighbors. Keep Clifton close to your heart. This is a great city. Thank you. God bless, and good night.